What is up, my friends on the internet? Back at it with another video, and on today's episode, we are working on the Tiger. Let's get into it. So this is the 2024 Triumph Tiger 900 GT. And if you've been watching the videos lately, you know I absolutely love this motorcycle. There's so much to love about this motorcycle. I won't get into all the reasons I love this motorcycle in this episode because that episode's already out there, but today's video is about a thing I don't love about this bike, and that is this windscreen. Initially, I really liked it. I really did. You can just reach forward and lift it up or down. It's super adjustable. You can have a variety of heights, but I found that if it's on the lowest setting, it's pretty good. But when you raise it up because you want more protection from the wind, it actually adds a lot of buffeting. That may not be the case for you. Obviously, I have a sample size of 1, but in my situation, it does need a little bit of improvement. After several thousand miles on it, I've kind of realized that. So in today's episode, we're gonna install a new one and see if we can't solve that problem, because this bike has quite the adventure coming up for it. So we'll get into that trip a little bit later, but let's just say before that happens, we should really get this windscreen situation solved. So this is a touring windscreen for the Tiger 900, and it is from our friends at GIVI. You guys know I've always been a big fan of GIVI stuff. This bike's already running a GIVI tail bag and a GIVI tank bag, so adding a little bit more of the same exact logo kind of keeps it on theme. So if we hold this thing up over the factory one, lining up the holes perfectly, you can see that it's a lot bigger. I'm talking that much taller, that much wider, and that much wider. You still retain the little port there that will help with aerodynamics, but you have a nice bigger screen and a nice kick up where I think this is really gonna get you out of the wind. So I'm stoked on this. I also like the fact that when they did their kind of like design overall, they threw in this little black gradient because I think it just goes along with the bike really nice. The bike has the little pops of black all over it, and this is just gonna make it look right at home. And then of course, like I said, the GIVI logo won't stand out because it's already all over the bike. Install should be super easy on this because it's literally just 4 bolts holding it in, 2 up top, 2 down bottom, and the ones up top also hold the adjustment rail. The GIVI one is gonna reuse all of the stuff from the factory bike, so you're gonna use the same exact bolts, the same exact handle, all of that. You're just replacing the plastic piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that on and let's check it out. Woo. All right, we got all that off and we got ourselves a little naked bike here. Honestly, this could look pretty cool. I could see somebody eliminating all of this and just making a really cool strip back kind of ADV thing. We're not gonna be doing that. We're gonna be doing the exact opposite of that and putting something huge on it, but cool idea nonetheless. All right, just like that, this boy is installed and it functions really nice. I don't think this is actually possible, but maybe it's just because I torqued all these things again, but this action actually feels smoother than before, just moving it up and down. It does have, let me see if I can get you in here so you can see this. It does have a little bit of redundancy here. This little part is obviously completely shielded by this, so this is unnecessary. It's not doing anything, but it's also not hurting anything. And it is a direct cover for this little USB Type-C outlet here, which of course still isn't working great, but it's there nonetheless, and it's protected nonetheless. Go ahead and get all these decals off. It says a max speed of 130 kilometers per hour. No idea how fast that is, so we'll probably break that rule. And it also says that when you clean the windscreen to remove bugs and such, you shouldn't use any chemicals. And then here they have a little quality control sticker, which they never fail at, honestly. GIVI gets it right, but made in Italy looks beautiful. I am super happy with that. The next step is gonna be to get the bike out on the road and maybe even on the highway so we can do a proper test and see how it's doing. right, so about a week has passed, and as always, I wanted to get some mileage on this windscreen before I actually gave you my opinions of it. Obviously, I could give you just like my initial impressions of what I think of it, installing it and putting hands on it, but until I got it out on the highway, until I put some real miles behind it, I couldn't give you an honest review. So it's been about a week and I haven't been tracking mileage, but it's been 2 full tanks of gas on the Tiger 900. The riding has been a mixed batch. There's been some stuck in traffic crawling along stuff. There's been some country back roads. There's been some highway work. There's even been a little moment spent at triple-digit speeds. So now that I've done all that, I feel like I'm qualified to tell you my real impressions of it. And I will say just up front, it is mostly good, but there is definitely a little bit of con involved. Let's take a closer look. So here it is, the GIVI touring windscreen for the Triumph Tiger 900. I can honestly say it fits the look of the bike really well. It does make the bike look a little less adventure-y and way more kind of sports toury, when in reality, that's what this really is. This is one of the most sports toury bikes that carries the Tiger name. They obviously have the Triumph Tiger Sport line, but I would say this isn't really far removed from those bikes. While I have taken it off-road, it definitely prefers being on the road. So this screen, I think, fits the bill really well. And like I said, I have liked it for the most part. I think they did a really good job with the coloring on it. The fact that they brought in some black here and matched the kind of silverish white color that the Tiger is written in, that works really well for me. The bike is kind of black and white with the little slightest cues of silver. So this ties in perfectly. If you took away the GIVI name, it would look factory to me, but I love it. The bike looks great with it, and it works really well. You still retain the functionality of being able to push it up and down, but that does lead me into the one con that I found with it. Well, I guess 1.5 cons, but the big con I found with it is because it's so much taller, when you're on the highway, this thing being so tall has a lot of wind resistance right here on that apex, so it's pressing this way, which does kind of counteract you pushing this way to move it up and down. So at high speed, which in reality, maybe you shouldn't be adjusting your screen at high speed, but at high speed, you do have some more resistance to this pushing action because so much wind is pushing the thing back towards you that you gotta try to defeat that spring right there to push it down. But I'm still managing to do it one-handed. If it's fighting me at high speed, honestly, just slow down a little bit. If you slow down a little bit, you'll be able to adjust it and it'll work perfect. The big question is, does it work? And I will say yes and no. Windscreens and their ability to keep air off you is highly dependent on rider size. I'm 5'11" with a 32-inch inseam, so I think I'm pretty proportionate. I don't have an exceptionally long torso. I don't have an exceptionally short torso and really long legs. I'm average, you know, above average height, but average dimensions, I suppose. And it works really well for me in most scenarios. If I have it in the lowest setting or in the middle of the range, it works flawlessly for me. There's no wind on my chest and my helmet is out in the air, but it's out in clean air. So it's not a huge issue. That is where I prefer this thing. But if I move it all the way up, that's where the problems start. That's when I start getting my torso's out of the wind. My torso's good, but I have a bunch of buffeting coming off the tip of it onto my helmet. And that's because if it's at the highest setting, it hits me right in my eye line. I am not looking through the screen or above the screen. I am looking right at the seam. And not only does that kind of mess with your vision and it make it a little dangerous, it also does add a bunch of buffeting to the top of my helmet. I feel it just dancing around. So I don't like this thing all the way up, but middle of the range or lowest setting, really great. It's better than the factory one. The factory one, regardless of the height, it was giving me a little bit of buffeting. It was just how much. If it was on the low setting, tiny bit of buffeting. If it was on the high setting, a bunch of buffeting. But this one, it's really easy to avoid that. So if you're around my size, that's gonna be your ideal settings. So far on the highway in a straight shot, I've only done about 30 miles, but during that 30 miles, every 10 I switched the setting. The first 10 I had it low, the second 10 I had it mid, the third 10 I had it high, and then I did it in reverse coming back home, just so I could really feel the differences. And I can say, full on, worth the money. It's not terribly expensive, a couple $100, but it does vastly improve the comfort on the bike. I also had it in the rain a little bit, and again, just like you would expect, it kept me completely dry. The rain hit my helmet, but my torso stayed relatively dry. I was wearing a waterproof jacket, so even if I got wet, it wouldn't matter, but it's just nice not to have to deal with it. It keeps you out of the elements, and for a bike, like I said, that I think is more of a sports tourer than an ADV, it really fits the bill. I like it. If you're planning to ride your bike off-road a lot, maybe you don't want to put a big piece of plastic on it because it's inclined to break, right? But I don't. For me, this bike is gonna be just for highway travel, for long distance travel, just to make those trips comfortable. Because on the modern classics, it's not super comfortable. I do it all the time, right? Those are the bikes that I travel on the most, but sometimes I just wanna make it a little easy. And this bike is that kind of cheat code, easy mode for touring for me. You got a big comfortable seat, you got cruise control, now you got a big windscreen, there's hand guards, everything you could possibly need to make your trip easier. The Triumph Tiger 900 GT has it, and if it doesn't have it, you can add it really easily. But if you have any questions about this thing, I know this was a short one, but if you have any questions about this, leave them down below. Let me know what you think of it. Do you think it's worth the couple $100? Do you think it makes the looks? Do you think it ruins the looks? I love hearing your opinions on parts that I installed. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Do you want to get them? Do you have them already? But also, if you don't have the GIVI one and you have a different one, let me know. I love learning from you guys about other products that are available for the bikes that I have, because sometimes you guys put me onto a product I've never even heard of, and it's cool to see what else is out there without having to do all the research myself, hear your reviews on it, and then maybe grab it and do a formal video review of them in the future. So like I said, any insight you have, leave it below. I appreciate that. But that is the end of this one. I love each and every one of you, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.